also speak on the Enhancing Online Safety for Children Bill 2014, the second reading. Madam Deputy Speaker, to feel powerless, scared, embarrassed or humiliated is not something I or any other member in this place would wish upon anyone. But I think members would agree that the thought of an innocent child having those feelings strikes a different chord entirely. To victimise a child, in my mind, is one of the lowest forms of human behaviour and is something I've actively campaigned in this place and outside to prevent. Madam Deputy Speaker, prior to Christmas break I stood in this place and called for members to join with me in implementing initiatives that help achieve the aim of zero abuse of children. I said then that this is a discussion I believe the Australian country needs to have, because throughout our history child abuse has often been dismissed, particularly by those who had the power to hold those who seek to commit such acts to account, as we saw for many years with the care leavers and children in institutions, which is now the subject of a Royal Commission. And I must admit, I just heard the member for Dobell speak in the Federation Chamber in regards to child abuse in her electorate as well, which is the second worst electorate in New South Wales due to the statistics that she spoke about, and I endorse her speech and her sentiments that she made about child abuse. Madam Deputy Speaker, I also asked our nation to look out for our children and to protect them from any sort of abuse. As members know, abuse can take many forms: physical, sexual, emotional, or just purely neglect. What people don't often realise that is the connection between emotional abuse and bullying. Too often people reduce the significance of bullying in schools, at home or as adults in the workplace, despite its impact upon often having long-lasting effects and can increase the likelihood of self-harming or suicidal thoughts and behaviour, particularly in young people. In today's 21st century, though, the impact of bullying, or as I've highlighted, the impact of this abuse is no longer reduced to a certain day or a certain time when you personally interact with that bully. But now, as a result of social media surrounding us in every facet of our lives, bullying has also reared its vicious head in the virtual world, and the result being that there is no escape. A child can leave the bully in the playground, but the bully will follow them home, not physically, but on social media sites such as Facebook or Twitter, or simply through text messages. I'm sure members are well aware of the term keyboard warriors, and in the case of cyberbullying, this couldn't be more accurate. Madam Deputy Speaker, it never ceases to amaze me that a person can be so cruel and so tormenting when they are hidden by a cloud of being anonymous. But it is the time that cloud was lifted, and the children in particular are once again able to feel safe and to know that it is okay to tell someone that they are being bullied. In January 2012, while in opposition, the Coalition established an online safety working group to consult with the community and industry stakeholders about cyberbullying and what we as a government can do to raise awareness of its impact on children and to reduce its prevalence. In 2013, we took our policy to enhance online safety for children to the election, and in 2014 we released a discussion paper to gain vital feedback from industry groups, including some of Australia's most predominant social media sites such as Facebook and Twitter. As a result of these consultation periods, both in opposition and in government, the Enhancing Online Safety for Children Bill 2014 that is before the House today has been developed. It is a bill that is vital in this 21st century world where social media surrounds us, and is something that I wholeheartedly endorse. I say that it is vital because research has already suggested that cyberbullying is occurring most frequently to children between the ages of 10 and 14, with 50.6% of cases, and is closely followed by 15 to 18-year-olds with 44.2%. These are alarming statistics which cannot be permitted to continue. This government and the Australian community needs to work together now to safeguard our children in this cyber environment in the same manner we're working to safeguard our children on our streets and in our homes. The reality of today's world is that social media is expanding every minute of every day. It may be hard to believe now, but it was only 17 years ago that Google was founded, 11 years for Facebook and 9 years for Twitter. So in less than 2 decades, these forms of networking sites have managed to become instrumental in our daily lives, and in many cases have become something that we rely on to research or interact on both a personal or professional level. We also don't have to be strapped to a computer to access them. All we have to do is pull our phone out, as the member for Macquarie did just before, out of our pockets, which are now strapped to us like glue. Yes, these are those who would say, just don't have social media, but to that idea I'll highlight two things. Some say social media is the world's future, so trying to hide from it will only hinder our children's ability to adequately utilise this tool and to safeguard themselves from its adverse impacts. And two, just because you or your child does not have social media, that does not automatically mean you or your child won't be the subject of cyberbullying, because, as I said, it is all around us. Madam Deputy Speaker, to reduce the prevalence of cyberbullying in Australia, there is no single or simple answer. This government's response and the communities will each need to be multifaceted, with the legislation before the House, the first of many bills that will need to be introduced in this place over the coming years to respond to the issues that are presented to it, and obviously with the development of social media and other highlights or other areas of communication. I highlight that this bill is not a means to attack social media sites or to accuse them of not safeguarding their users. Many large social media sites have worked hard to improve their complaints handling arrangements to remove cyberbullying material. The bill before the House does not seek to disregard this, but instead, as its title suggests, to enhance it. This is because to appropriately respond to cyberbullying, an effective complaints system must be in place. Prior to the eSafety Commissioner becoming involved, the complainant must therefore have been reported to the material to the social media site under its established processes prior to making a complaint to the Commissioner. It is only if the social media service does not adequately respond to the complaint that the Commissioner would then get involved. Under this bill, the Children's eSafety Commissioner will be therefore established to respond to complaints of cyberbullying material which is targeted at children. The Commissioner will be established as an independent statutory office within the Australian Communication and Media Authority, or the ACMA, and it will utilise a two-tiered system to administer or respond to complaints. The first tier is for those social networking sites which have agreed to work with the government on a cooperative basis to remove cyberbullying material of this nature. Under this tier, the Commissioner will be able to request that the social media site removes the material, but it would not be a legal requirement. Comparatively, Tier 2 social media services will be subject to legally binding notices, which, if not complied with, could result in civil penalties for non-compliance. Under the Bill's provisions, a social media service can request to be classed as a Tier 2 service, and registers of both tiers will be maintained by the Commissioner. If a Tier 1 repeatedly fails to remove material upon the Commissioner's request over a 12-month period, it can also be declared a Tier 2 service by that Commissioner. Another key provision to help ensure social media services take this government's commitment to remove cyberbullying material seriously is the establishment of end-user notices. This may require a person to take all reasonable steps to remove the material, refrain from posting further material, or to apologise to the child for posting the material. If this person fails to meet the obligations of the issued notice, the Commissioner would then be able to go to the Federal Circuit Court and to seek an injunction. At any time, the Commissioner may also notify federal, state or territory police if he or she believes a case of cyberbullying breaches criminal law. Although these are important powers to protect our children in the cyber environment, I also believe they strike an important balance between implementing necessary regulation and not being heavy-handed in our approach. Madam Deputy Speaker, this balance will in particular be achieved in the Commissioner's application of the cyberbullying definition in this legislation, which, as the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister for Communications highlighted in his speech, must be likely to have an effect of seriously threatening, intimidating, harassing or humiliating a particular Australian child. I believe that this definition adequately embraces the legislation's intent and will help to ensure complaints of cyberbullying are appropriately and efficiently addressed. Like child abuse of any form, mental illness or diseases such as dementia, bullying has for too long been swept under the rug, despite it often being the catalyst for future depression as an adult or even suicide. As I've said, the ability for people to bully anonymously in the virtual world only makes it much more dangerous and presents many more challenges. These are challenges that I'm pleased to say this government is working hard to meet head-on and will continue to consult with industry groups to ensure we are doing everything we can to prevent and raise awareness of bullying in the future. Raising awareness of these issues cannot be left to any individual or even to this government. It is up to every parent to discuss social media with their child and the dangers it presents. It is up to our schools to engage openly with students and be on the lookout for instances of bullying. And it is also up to this government to facilitate this work on a national level. The Enhancing Online Safety for Children bill before the House is a very important step in the right direction, and I thank all those opposite who have also stood in this place today and in the last sitting to join with the government in supporting these measures. I'd also like to make a particular mention to the member for Forest, who has run cyberbullying, anti-cyberbullying campaigns for many years now in her electorate and across Australia, and has set the standard for local and community forums to advise and enhance parents on how to deal with cyberbullying, particularly when it comes to their children, and how to put measures in place to prevent cyberbullying of their own children as well. So along with the other members, who I heard the member for Grey speak and spoke about some of his experiences, but also to the member for Macquarie and the other members, I rise with them and join with them in commending this bill to the House. Thank you.
Thank you.